Did you know that this 1997 anime film predicted stan culture? No? Well, come along, my students, and I'll explain everything. But first, let me set the scene. Technology and the internet have progressed rapidly in the past 2 decades. Arguably, the most impressive things to come out of the internet in that time have been social media and the rise of the internet content creator. Websites like YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and so on have given every person a way to get their voice heard and become a celebrity in their own right. However, with celebrity, no matter how small, comes its own share of utter psychos. It's safe to assume that most internet users have heard the term stan at some point, but to fully understand where I'm going with this, we need to talk about
Part 1. The origin of the term stan.
the first use of the term stan in our modern context from a 2000 song of the same name by rapper Eminem. The song chronicles the story of Stan, a crazed fan of the rapper who, after writing several letters claiming to be his biggest fan, ties up his pregnant girlfriend and drives into a river after receiving no response from Eminem. It's currently unknown if the name Stan was chosen as a play on words of stalker and fan, or if this term was coined later. Either way, during the past decade, the term was adopted by some spaces of fan culture to express one's love for a person or IP.
Part 2. Stans and parasocial relationships.
Many of you have probably heard the term parasocial relationship. According to dictionary.com, a parasocial relationship, quote, refers to a relationship that a person imagines having with another person whom they do not actually know, such as a celebrity or a fictional character. Professionals in the field of psychology have hypothesized that parasocial relationships are what led to the creation of stan culture, and are born out of the need for connection with other people. A lot of people look to public figures for connection if they are lonely or feel more isolated. It can be really helpful for them to have that kind of imaginary relationship where they get some of their needs met. It can't substitute for a real relationship in person, but it can be, I would think of as supplemental. If parasocial relationships build community and give people a substitute for real-life relations, where does it go wrong? The answer can be found in my question. Those aren't real relationships. No matter how much you interact with a celebrity on social media, or how much you speak about them in a community, you still don't know that person. Whether it's a big-name movie star that responded to your comment on Twitter, or streamers that respond to chat in real time. And I think it's the one-sidedness of these relationships that lead to stans deifying the person they look up to. You only get to see their good side without any faults. Some might share their feelings with their audience, but it's never going to be the full picture. That mystique feeds the fans' desire to be a part of their life. YouTuber McKenna Turner, when interviewed about her experience with stans, stated, "Even as a small content creator, I've had instances where people have messaged my friends because they saw we followed each other, asking for my personal contact information, to the point where sometimes I don't even tag my friends in Instagram posts. I know that they might be harassed."
Part 3. Tools for harassment.
In stan communities, they aren't simply people who enjoy a person's work or an IP. They're that person or thing's personal militia. Stans use several tactics to prop someone up and tear others down. These include the following. Brigading, which is the act of harassing a person en masse through social media. There are numerous reports of journalists who've had to delete all their social media after criticizing an artist or thing due to the sheer amount of harassment they received. The forms of harassment can range from hate mail to encouraging self-harm to death threats. Doxing, which is the act of leaking someone's address among other personal information online. Numerous YouTubers, streamers, and bigger celebrities have been doxed for criticizing someone else's work, or just because we don't like you. Lastly, we have stalking. Stalking has been primarily associated with K-pop in the past decade. While that's not fair, they do have some of the most infamous cases. In fact, K-pop stans are so infamous that a term was created to refer to them, sasang, which is why I want to focus on them here. In 2012, an anonymous K-pop manager with a decade of experience gave several stories of the horrors that he witnessed, including... excuse me for a second. There we go. Stans who followed the bands around in taxis to watch their every move. This was considered mild by the manager. The more extreme cases listed were breaking into the band's dorms to steal food, finding the members' hotels and leaving urine and feces on the floor to mark their territory, and worst of all, assaulting their idols. There are a lot of young sasaeng girls. When the idols come out after finishing their schedules, they'll swarm in close and begin touching their private parts. They're so young, and yet they're already assaulting people. From the perspective of the idol member, it's horrifying. The harm idols receive don't only come from outside, something that our film covers all too well. I swear I'll get to it soon.
Part 4. How idol culture exploits children and feeds stan culture.
I'd like to take a moment to look inside the idol industry and how it exploits young teens. Idol culture is very prevalent in Japan. However, behind the cutesy, bubbly exterior, most idols' lives are controlled by their agencies. Idols are required to portray an image of being innocent at all times, as this makes them more marketable to fans. Many idols are forbidden from dating, because if they do, then their fans won't be able to sexually fantasize about them or infantilize them. An idol from the band AKB48 shaved her head in shame and begged the public for forgiveness after she was caught spending the night at a hotel with her boyfriend. Another idol was assaulted and had to publicly apologize for speaking out because she caused trouble. Entertainment lawyer Tsuyoshi Fukai stated that it's common for idols to be emotionally or physically abused by their managers or agency reps because they deserve it for not being popular. Ex-Nijiro fanfare member Aya Kotobana detailed how her band was forced to practice dancing until midnight, received no money for the first 2 years because it was their fee for the training, and had to self-teach themselves choreography because the company wouldn't hire a coach for a group that wasn't actively making money yet. The girls were told, "You'll get paid a lot once you become popular," but didn't receive any money unless it became popular nationwide. Kotobana also said they had to sign a 7-year contract, and if anyone wanted to quit prematurely due to the working conditions, that they would be blacklisted from the industry. Things are just as bad in Korea. In the article, "I could have been a K-pop idol, but I'm glad I quit," English YouTuber Iodias detailed her story of getting a 2-year training contract to be a K-pop idol, and why she quit after her training. She explained that the girls weren't allowed to live outside lives, weren't allowed to date, were encouraged to starve themselves and practice until fainting. She mentioned that the company tried gaslighting her into getting plastic surgery under the guise that she wasn't pretty enough. She ended her interview with, "The more I think about it, the more I think I made the right decision." So, we've learned that stans are seen as a commodity, and that idols are put under terrible working conditions to feed that audience. That leads perfectly into
Part 5. Get to the anime, asshole.
Perfect Blue is a 1997 psychological thriller by Satoshi Kon. It chronicles the story of Mima, a young idol who leaves her band Chom to pursue a career as an actress. Meanwhile, a string of murders surrounding Mima's co-workers and a stalker begin following her at the same time she leaves the idol world behind. Perfect Blue is a story of identity, and a critique of the relationship between the public's view of celebrities and how that clashes with who they really are. Throughout the entire movie, Mima is suffering through an identity crisis. She struggles to come to terms with her public image, the image she wants to give the public, and who she really is. The movie opens with Mima performing her final show with her band. On stage, Mima portrays a cutesy, extroverted girl who loves her audience. But after the scene ends, we cut to Mima in her apartment on the phone with her mom. The real Mima is much more calm and reserved. When her mother expresses shock at Mima's decision, "How could you possibly give up singing?" she asks. Mima replies, "You just don't understand this industry, Mom. The pop idol image is suffocating me." As I've shown through my research, this is in line with how retired pop idols felt after dealing with their agencies and fans. The movie makes a critique of stans right off the bat with a character by the screen name Me Mania. Me Mania represents the dangers of stans, and uses several of the techniques we see on stan Twitter to attack Mima. He sends her faxes calling her a traitor. He sends a small bomb to Mima's first acting gig as fan mail. One of the producers opens it only to be injured with the message "traitor" written on the inside. He also actively stalks Mima throughout the film, showing up in the background of all her acting locations that are open to the public. Me Mania also exemplifies the worst kind of parasocial relationship. He has no real friends, but to him, that doesn't matter because he has his relationship with Mima. He goes to all of her concerts, buys all of her CDs, and even shares a moment with her during her final concert. At her last show, a group of kids starts throwing garbage at the stage only for Me Mania to stand up to them and get punched. Mima, thankful for this act of kindness, simply smiles in his direction. But to Me Mania, he's finally gotten his validation. From that moment forward, he was no longer a fan, but Mima's personal white knight, and he wouldn't let anyone hurt Mima or her image, including Mima. The movie plays Cham's most popular song several times across its runtime. 3 lyrics stand out in particular. If it means you're loved in the end, be much more aggressive, because you will get the chance. To Me Mania, a stalking and harassment is his way of showing his love, and he'll be as aggressive as it takes. It also portrays the dangers of stands from inside the industry through her manager Rumi. Rumi is a person who can't let go of the past. She feels that being an actress and leaving the idol world behind is the worst move that Mima could make. In spite of her best efforts to be supportive, Rumi tries to talk Mima out of acting in a drama at every turn because she feels it'll hurt Mima's pure image. In spite of breaking into the acting world like she wanted, Mima feels conflicted. She's required to perform a rape scene as well as pose nude for photos. This eventually causes her to break down at home. She laments that she hated doing it, but had no choice in order to follow her new dream and escape her old image. As I showed earlier, this is unfortunately nothing new, as idols have felt ashamed for having a boyfriend because it broke the illusion of their pure, docile image. Eyes play a major thematic role throughout the film. A screenwriter, photographer, and even Mima's agent are all killed. This happens each time a scene that takes Mima further away from her old image is filmed. All the killings involve getting stabbed in the eye, or having the victim's eyes gouged out. This is a metaphor for the men around her being punished for undressing Mima with their eyes and tainting her pure image. Mima's identity crisis is mirrored in the drama that she appears in. It's revealed that her character is suffering from dissociative identity disorder. Her character was an actress who, after killing her sister, a popular model, becomes her in order to salvage her heart. This all comes to a head when left with no options. Me Mania attempts to kill Mima to save the real Mima from this imposter, with her barely surviving the attack. Once again, we see the image of Mima that her stand can't let go of clash with the real Mima. This also mirrors a real-life event from 2010 where actress-singer Aya Hirano received death threats, with one person being arrested for publicly discussing her dating preferences and sex life on a talk show. According to Hirano, she still receives death threats to this day from fans who feel betrayed for simply living her life. Life imitates art. After this traumatic event, Mima runs to Rumi for comfort. Scared and with no one to trust, Rumi promises to take Mima home. She wakes up only to realize that she's not in her apartment. Everything is off, as if someone tried to replicate it. It's revealed here that all the killings and gaslightings were orchestrated by Rumi, dressed as Mima, who's suffering from dissociative identity disorder. When all her attempts at gaslighting Mima back into being an idol fail, Rumi's psychosis breaks, and she attempts to kill and become Mima to restore her pop idol image, because according to Rumi, that's the real Mima. Mima escapes the apartment and the two give chase, and eventually Rumi pins Mima to a wall and says that she has to die because the world doesn't need 2 Mimas and that she's a dirty old imposter. Mima declares, "Like I care, I am who I am," and removes Rumi's wig, breaking her persona, and Rumi stabs herself in a shard of glass attempting to get it back. The film ends with Mima visiting Rumi at a mental hospital. She laments that despite everything she put her through, she wouldn't have her career without Rumi. As she leaves, 2 nurses are in disbelief because the real Mima would never go to a mental hospital. The film ends on a triumphant note as Mima returns to her car, looks in the mirror, and proudly proclaims, "No, I'm real." It's a beautiful way to end the film. It shows that in the end, no one can define Mima's identity for her. Not the public, not the stands, not Rumi, only she can.
Part 6. Conclusion.
Perfect Blue to me is a cautionary tale about the dangers of celebrity and how we treat people with fame. Our society has a way of treating celebrities as though they're not human. Many see them as their gods, or as objects they have the right to treat however they feel. But the truth is, they're only human. Perfect Blue quickly became one of my favorite movies after I first watched it, and with each subsequent viewing, I only find more parallels with our real world. This movie was released in 1997, and since then, stands have only become worse. The horrors that Mima faced are a reality for more people than ever. This movie was truly ahead of its time. I just wish more people would watch and listen to its message.